this band? I like this band. I wrote it down so I don't forget who they are. Oh, I remember. Fucking Slayer! Metal, horror, madness. We're back for another episode. And I am psyched. This is going to be rad. I'm so psyched to talk to these two. We got Clare and Teagan from the mighty Breaker, bringing that 80s old school, my era growing up 47 years young as I conquer the world, one day at a time, one platform at a time. I love meeting the real metalheads, the real ones out there like Breaker, and I gotta tell you, when I first heard Fever, when I heard that song, I swore that song was like from 87, 88. The production, the vocals, the playing, I was blown away. I could not believe that. I've been telling everybody about it. I am so psyched to have you two on. Thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad you guys found me. And when I heard it, I was like instantly a fan because I love that. You know, I love all the hard, heavy stuff. I love the intense music. But my wheelhouse, right? My wheelhouse is my 80s, my Wasps, my Wingers, my Poisons, my Kiss, my Crew, my Guns, my LA Guns and Roses. We had double the Guns back then. Not good, not promoting that. Don't know which side anyone's on, but that's not a place for me to talk about right now. But you guys are bringing that spirit of the 80s, and I am so psyched. And what I wanted to ask you two is how, first of all, how'd you get into this? How'd you get into this scene? What's the drive for it and helping to keep it alive right now?
So I just graduated college. I didn't really know what was going on. My favorite band is Kiss. I love all 80s metal, but like all metal in general. And ideally I wanted to join like a Kiss cover band or something.
Yeah.
So I went on Craigslist. Great place to check.
Always a reputable site. I meet all my girlfriends there. No problems yet.
And I saw a post for like, band that wanted to do old school 80s stuff, and the list of songs was like Wild Child by Wasp, Bark at the Moon by Ozzy, Flight of Icarus, Iron Maiden. I was like, oh my god, I have to join this. And me and Teagan had just started dating at the time. Nice. And I brought it up randomly. I was like, and he plays guitar. He's been in a couple of bands. Yeah. And I was like, would you come with me to this audition? Because I didn't know what to expect. I'm a young girl showing up to this. I could get killed. Who knows? And we got there and we jammed again. We met up a couple of weeks and it worked out like perfectly. And then we originally started doing covers and stuff. So we played a bunch of cover shows at random spots. And then started weaving in our originals.
Nice. And it's so sick that Kiss is one of your... I love Kiss. I love to romance. Who doesn't like to romance the Love Gun? I mean, I steal the trigger of every mom's Love Gun. It's what I do. It's what I enjoy. Now, are you an 80s era or 70s or all eras of Kiss?
Mostly 70s. I can appreciate the 80s era of Kiss. I can even appreciate 90s Carnival of Souls Kiss.
Nice.
But of course, the golden era is the 70s Kiss.
So it's such a great era of Kiss, and I love the whole scene. I love 70s, I love 80s, I love all those bands that intertwine. I just saw Dangerous Toys, which was phenomenal. I'm 47. I haven't seen them since I was 17. It was surreal to just see them again. Small club, fun band. They actually played some Wasp. I know you said before we were talking, you're gonna go see Wasp, and they played I think Blind in Texas. My favorite Wasp song there was Mean Man. Mean Man's one of my favorite, that high energy. You guys, I like energy, and so do you. And I wanted to ask you are there any covers that you have plans to do? Because when I hear your voice, I hear every cover from the 80s popping up into my head. And I'm talking everything from Poison to Lita Ford. Your vocal range is scary good. It's actually scary. It scares me sometimes to wonder how someone could have that kind of range and that power and sound so natural in the scene. So if you were to do any covers, are there any bands in mind that you have?
Yeah, so we're playing a covers gig at the end of the year.
Nice.
Got to get our money up. Those are the gigs that pay.
Yeah.
And we have The Ripper by Judas Priest.
Amazing.
We're working on that. And we're working on Rock and Roll Crazy Nights by Loudness.
What? That's a deep cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
What else do we do? We do Devil's Child, Judas Priest, Flight of Icarus, Iron Maiden.
Me Against the World, Lizzie Borden.
Oh, I'm a huge Master of Disguise is one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm a massive Lizzie Borden fan. Yeah, that's sick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it goes hard.
Yeah,
Need a Ford, we do Gotta Let Go.
amazing.
That's a fun one. Yeah, we have a whole list of covers because we did a whole year of just doing cover songs. So it'll be fun to get back into that. Because we have to play for 2 hours, dude. 2
Wow.
hours. Covers. We'll try to weave our originals in. I don't know how
Yeah.
many we're allowed to play, but we're gonna do it regardless.
But I mean, the nice thing at least with that is it goes with your theme of that party, that energy, right? And I love that it's everything from Lita Ford to Iron Maiden because two completely different sounding acts, two different types of metal, but you guys are bringing it in there. And I try and look at the positive. What a positive guy I am. I'm thinking that playing all those songs keeps that spirit in you, right? Keeps that 80s, that Tab Cola. We didn't have no Diet Pepsi back then. We had Tab, if anyone knows what that is. We had Bonkers candy. We drank 2 liters of soda in our lunch boxes. It was a fun time, and you guys are bringing that time back. And I wanted to know, too, is maybe I'll shut up for a second. That would be nice. How did you guys, as you said, you formed through Craigslist, you got this together. I did some research. I saw all these different influences from straight metal, glam metal, hardcore. I mean, Philly, big hardcore scene, right? We got Philly, we got DC, we got New York, and we got Boston. Those are those hardcore markets. And here you guys are shredding and playing your 70s, 80s metal right in that scene. That's so sick. So I just really wanted to know, we talked about it a little bit, but like, how did you gel all that in? Because all the different personalities in that band, that's a lot.
So it's more so just like kind of like we sat down, learned a bunch of covers together, figured out how our influences melded together, what works in our playing, what doesn't, like what our styles tended to, gravitate towards. And our drummer, who had been in bands all throughout, 80s and 90s and stuff like that, came in with a couple songs that he had already prepared. We sat down, we learned them, and like kind of took them, put our own spins on them. And those are basically everything that ended up on the EP, except for I wrote Fever, and we kind of worked the lyrics together on that one.
Oh, that song is so good. Sorry. That song is so good. I literally played that about 8 times today before this came on because
that's how you get the metal moms. You gotta show them Fever.
I do. They get a fever when they meet me. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't help it. When you look like this, it just happens, I don't know how to say it. But you two are quite good looking yourselves. I'm enjoying the view here. For those that are going to hear on Spotify, they can't. You guys got the look. You got the feel. You're giving me that great energy. And that, I mean, again, just putting all that together, gelling all those different personalities and different genres together. And you guys, you're sitting there, do it. And yeah, Fever, again, I'm going to talk about that song nonstop because it's so catchy. It's stuck in my head. Do you have a favorite track so far that you guys are just like super proud of, a notch above everything else?
Oh, man. I think my favorite ones that we've been working on are the newer stuff, honestly, we've been coming out with.
Yeah.
So we're all really excited to start getting into the studio again, start recording these new songs we've been working on. From the EP, I think my favorite is probably Tight Leash. It's really fun to play.
Yeah.
I love the riff to it. It's a nice melody. Like everything about it is just fun to play. I don't know. It works for me.
Yeah. Live, I would say it's Fever because it's fucking catchy.
Yeah.
And like people, even if they've never heard it before, they can get really into it. Like once you hear the chorus once, you'll know it again. But my favorite song is Under the Overlords.
Nice.
It's got a little bit of like power metal to it. It's got and I just love at the end I get to get into my operatic range a little bit because I grew up doing choir and theater and all that stuff. So it gave me the opportunity to show that off a little bit.
That's 2 great tracks with it, 2 great tracks. And that's what I wanted to ask you too with as far as laying, tracks down in the studio. We want to get music out there as much as possible, new things everyone can hear. What's your biggest rush or your biggest passion? Is it laying down tracks on studio or is it getting out in front of people, seeing how you inspire them, getting everyone ready to party? Because I can't stress enough to everybody, you guys bridge this weird 80s gap where you take those 80s glam bands and your traditional maidens and priests and just gel it into a place that some of those classic bands and some of them can't do anymore, that's for sure, unfortunately. They partied a little too much. Not me, I only party heavy on the weekends and make horrible mistakes and worry about them on Monday morning, but other times I'm fine. You guys take those two and you weave where I'm like, I am listening to the same song right now, Iron Maiden and Vixen, and that is physically impossible. You guys are doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the idea.
Thank you.
Because like everybody kind of, not everybody, but you say like, oh, I love 80s glam. It's like, oh, that's corny. It got oversaturated and stuff. But there are elements of that, like fucking Dokken. Dokken has incredible music, and it's a shame that they get so wrapped up in this thing that's like it's oversaturated or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, like it's more respectable, I guess, in the metal community to be like, I love Iron Maiden, I love Judas Priest.
True.
New wave heavy metal, what have you, but there's so much to put together there. I don't know, like bringing back like the integrity of that music is really important.
That is a great point right there, because people lose sight that early to like mid 85, 86, 87 is some of the greatest music out there. Everybody likes to focus because it's easy to make fun of those late era things, right? When those bands like Tricksters were coming out, or White Lion was watering it down even more and more, and all these different things are happening, Great Whites. And I like these bands. I'm a Trickster guy too. Tricks aren't just for kids.
Yeah.
They're from Madman as well. But I look at all those bands, like you guys are saying, like you look at that first Great White, like Shot in the Dark, like LP. That's a great album. Def Leppard, High and Dry, Def Leppard, On Through the Night. These are classic, iconic albums. Cinderella to me too, like Night Songs. Like these are, holy shit, how heavy? Like fucking Night Songs could be Sabbath. It's so heavy and just chugging along. But yeah, they judge everything on that. Unskinny Bop comes out. Everyone stops bopping their baloney just in their room. They're not playing it on the goddamn live songs and shows. It's watered down. Grunge comes in, which was short-lived. People forget that. Grunge was very short-lived. That movement got stale really quick. That 80s glam metal thing, that took years and years. I mean, even look at like Crew, the progression of those early albums, how heavy those things were. I'm glad you guys are bringing that back and respecting that. And yeah, Dokken Tooth and Nail. Dokken had a great album in the 90s, Dysfunctional, which if it came out just 5 years earlier would have been huge. And you sit there and you look at it, like it wasn't fair to a lot of those bands. And I love this. That makes me so happy. That's one of the things you are doing, is bringing that back, because we got to stop just going, oh, it's just hair metal, it's hairspray, it's glam, it's whatever, it's watered. Everything's not on Skinny Bop, just like everything in the 70s isn't rock and roll all night, right? We have those things, so you guys are killing it doing that, for sure. And when you're doing it in the studio.
Everything is fun.
Everything's fun.
What's wrong with that?
Who doesn't love a little excess? It's just fun.
It's all fun. I live my life. If I didn't have excess, I'd be gone by now, okay? I can't live if I'm not being extreme all the time and having fun and partying. And you want to tell me, like, you're driving in your car and you hear some of these bangers come on, it just puts a smile on your face. And it's funny, I just saw a band called All Sinners Band, and they're playing similar, music, more 80s style. And it's funny, the drummer, that Roger, he's got a store and everything, but he's a hardcore guy as well. So I love this bridge that's happening that wasn't around back in the day. Everyone was always fighting, you're a thrash or a hardcore or a glam. But I love this thing where everybody you're reviving that time, and it's just a fun time. And I went to this show, I saw them, they were fun. I throw your tracks on there, they're fun. I mean, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, I've heard that song 8 million times from Great White. That comes on, I'm ready to party. Pull out the PBRs. Tall cans, I spent a little extra this week. When you're in that studio, though, is that, and I interrupt myself, as you know, because I'm a madman. Do you prefer laying down tracks to put out new music, or do you prefer the music's out and we're live? Like, if someone could say to you, what is your favorite thing out of the two? And when you tell other bands just starting, part two of the question, what are some of the troubles of balancing it? So if you like the studio more, and it's like, I get stage fright, or I just want to get out on the stage and I'm not going to put the effort I should into the studio. How do you balance that? Which one's your favorite?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm at my core more of a studio guy.
Okay.
I love the process of like dialing in sounds and sitting down and tinkering with all the little pedals and other noise Legos and nonsense that you got.
Yeah.
And just figuring out what works in a mix and what doesn't, and like, the kind of like trial and error that comes with that. Like you can be mixing for years and still not know how to approach, every song like from the start. Like
right.
It's a fun process for me. It is difficult to balance though, because we are like a one guitar band, at least at the moment. We one guitar, and a lot of our songs require like a second guitar part, or else like solo sounds and things like that. So like, I'm starting to compose for the band like more and more with the idea that like, oh, like I'm only gonna have a bass behind me. So like let's write a guitar part that isn't like too intricate or too like crucial to a composition. And I think that's gonna be like a thing we kind of like have to balance more with, live and stuff.
That's a good point.
I'm
You
rambling.
need that second guitar player.
Second
sure.
guitar player, guys. You learn how to shred and send them a tape, and maybe they'll think about listening to it if you can party as hard as these two lunatics. That's what I'm putting out for you guys. I'm helping you out.
Because that's the thing. Our drummer is also a fantastic guitar player. So even if it's the hardest thing to find, though, finding a really good, solid drummer that isn't in like 5 other bands.
Right.
But either or, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, and that's the scene right now. The scene's like I've never seen it before, pun intended, where you can sit there and see everybody in the band has 5 or 6 other bands. And I'm like, sometimes I can't keep track, and sometimes I don't know. I like to see when that one band just has, I'm old school, right? So I want to see people in that one band with that commitment, with everything in there, where you're just giving it 150%, because sometimes you go in too many different directions. And that's what happened to the 80s scene. It went in so many directions, and then everybody wanted ballads, and then all the metalheads were like, this is shit, I can't listen to this anymore. Like, we're all sitting in our bedrooms crying because our girlfriend left us, and 7 bands are singing the same song about it. But what I was wondering is, when you're sitting there in the studio enjoying it, how much time do you practice? Is this an everyday thing? Is this something you do constantly after work, before work? You dream about it? You sleep about it?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like, I love performing live. If I could only perform live, it'd be great. Because, like, the Breaker EP, that was the first thing I ever recorded.
Yep.
I had no idea what went into it, how annoying it is to go over and over again with the same.
Yeah.
But I will say, it's I find it most helpful to be playing those songs live enough so that when you go into the studio, you already know what works. Yeah. So like playing shows is kind of my way of practicing and really figuring out the song. And of course, like we practice once a week every Sunday as a band, and I'm singing all the time. Any free moment I get, I'm singing something.
Right.
But it has been helpful to like really get in touch with the song, playing it a bunch of times, nice. Experimenting, and then going into the studio. Looking forward to going back soon.
Nice, and
it's been a while.
it's a good contrast too, that you both have, one loves being on the stage, the other one's in the studio, and that's very common, as we know, with bands and some of the great '80s bands as well. You see those different personalities, those that thrived out there, those want to be more laid back, and that you got to get in the studio because the fire's here. I can fear the fire still burns. I believe Twisted Sister said that, and I'm going to steal it from them. And I'm sitting here going, you guys, you got to get some more tracks out there. You got to hit that stage when you're ready to, be traveling and everything, because there's just something here, and you said it before, that's been missing, and that's that there's so much mockery of the 80s metal. It annoys the shit out of me, because being 47, I can tell you that was not always, like in 88, David Lee Roth's solo albums was the coolest shit I ever heard in my life. It was life-changing. Skyscraper and Eat 'Em and Smile changed my fucking life. So I can't even stand when people badmouth them, because I'm like, you can never do. If I never heard those albums, I wouldn't have got into metal. So I like this idea that you're just saying, we're going back to a time that everybody loved, everybody still loves, but you're executing it the right way. I think the other thing we see in the scene, and how do you feel about that? We have a lot of, and some are fun, good intention bands, and then some aren't. How do you feel about just bands and like making fun of the genre or the joke bands?
Posers. like I don't, how can you make fun of somebody who really enjoys what they're doing and believes in what they're doing and like are having fun? Like I feel bad for those people. And like that's also, I think, what held me back for so long. Like I've always wanted to be in a band.
Right.
But I hung out with all these like thrash dudes.
Yep.
Like that I dated a guy for a long time. And I had a Guns N' Roses patch on the back of my jacket because they're my favorite band. It was like, oh, don't wear that to the show. You'll get made fun
that's
of.
Lame. No, go fuck yourself.
That whole idea was just always so ridiculous to me. And now I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I feel bad for you if that's how you look at people who are enjoying what they're doing and enjoying what they like,
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, and that's, I mean, you see even like me, because I have to make everything about me at all times. We know this. Like, I've got the death tattoo. I've got Maiden. I've got Alice Cooper. That's my number one of all time. Right next to freaking Acid.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Alice 30-something times. Has been to Hollywood Vampires over 5 times. I worship him. I lose it. I cry when I get sentimental. I get emotional, ladies. It happens. It's okay. It doesn't mean I'm not a man. And I get so emotional when I see him and hear those tracks, especially he's been playing so many of the stuff that he doesn't play, deeper cuts from the 80s, because then like, it's so great to me. But to your point, that is the weakest shit possible. If you want to walk into a Cannibal Corpse, concert with a fucking Yngwie Malmsteen shirt on, good, that's awesome. If you want to sit there and listen to Slayer and then go fucking listen to Nelson, who cares? It all gets you into everything else, and that's how we get into music, right? I mean, that's how I got it. And how'd you guys get into metal? Because that's what happened to me. I liked some, like, 80s kid, right? So listen to like Run DMC and stuff. And then my cousin brought over those David Lee Roth cassettes, and I was like, what is this? It's unbelievable. And I got hooked from there. And next was Alice Cooper, School's Out, with his greatest hits album. What was that album, that gateway album that got you into this whole scene?
There you go. Oh man, gateway album. Oddly, it was probably Buckethead. His album Into the Chicken.
Yeah,
it was a lot of guys that I kind of heard before. Like, he collaborates a lot with Serge Tankian and System of a Down on it.
Yep.
And having only heard a couple System songs and knowing like, oh, I like this, and then hearing my favorite guitar player of all time collaborating with one of these weird, heavy, like atonal. It's the Buckethead thing. It's like nonsense guitar playing, but in the best way possible. And just seeing like just how cool this genre can be and just how ridiculous you can be and get away with it and like have fun with your music, I was like, oh, that rules. And from then on, it was just like, find like new shredders like Paul Gilbert and Yngwie and stuff like that. And like me and my other guitar playing buddies back in Scranton, we would all just sit around and try to like, learn licks together and then learn different instruments and learn these songs together and just jam on weekends and stuff. So it was kind of like the music fostered community, which then fostered like a sense of like, oh, this is where we all belong. And,
100%. Yeah, my family is from, my dad is from Ireland.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm sure like it's a lot more over there, like the metal scene and everything. So I grew up listening to Metallica,
nice,
and Iron Maiden and stuff. But it was actually because like I'm like a 2000s kid.
Yeah,
I got really into the emo scene.
Yep.
Like Black Veil Brides.
Nice.
They were my favorite band. I went to Warped Tour every year.
Awesome.
And that was the one day a year that I could be around a bunch of freaks like me. And from there, it was like, you learn like, oh, their inspirations are these bands. And I'm one of those people I need to learn everything about my hyperfixation.
Yeah.
So whenever Black Veil Bride said that they loved Motley Crue, I went and listened to Motley Crue. I was like, holy crap, this stuff is better than what I'm listening to right now.
So sick.
That was my rabbit hole.
That's what I try and do as much as possible on my social media, where I'm like, cut the bullcrap gatekeep. Like, just stop it already, because look at your guys' 2 entrants. You wouldn't figure that at all. Nowhere in hell would you think that. And people do that to me when I say David Lee Roth. They're like, that's not true. Like, that's not, like, they want to hear it was Judas Priest, British Steel, like right off the bat or something. It's like, no, that didn't happen that way. So I love hearing that stuff. And that's another great example too, saying like the freaks, like, because you know what? We are the outsiders. We're the misfits. We're the outcasts. We're the people don't like to look at. They don't like to hear us getting rowdy. These people always judge us. They sit there with their black coffee and their newspaper, and they want to talk about the news, and they didn't like them. The lawn wasn't mowed properly today. And we're out there going, all that stuff is bullshit. We want to get through life. We want to have a good time. We want to love one another. We want to support the scene. It's all the scene to me. I think all those bands, the bands you talked about, I talked about, everything we've been talking about, that's all that metal scene. Even bands that aren't metal but have that metal attitude, right? That come out there and just they rock hard. That's all stuff we need to encourage people with, because you want to find every type of music out there. I wanted to ask you too, before you start a show, like when I do I'll go out for social media shit and I got to get myself hyped up. I'm going to meet these people. I'm going to be screaming, all this bullshit. There's certain stuff I play, but I don't play metal before I go out, ever. I'll play like the Ed Fitzgerald song Out to Sea shit. I'll play like 3 Dog Night. People have no idea. I need the total opposite. I'll play Sinatra. I just need to be mellow, because when I go somewhere, I want to be a cannon. I just want to boom. boom come out of it like that. Oh, I said boom like those freaking Costco guys. I'm never going to live this up now. They make me sick to I don't care about chocolate cookies and chicken bakes. I want Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell yesterday. They brought back the 90s menu. I had a Maxi melt and had one since 97 when I stood that girl up. It's phenomenal.
I want the quesarito to come back.
That was a phenomenal.
They got rid of it.
Phenomenal thing. So when you're out there, when you're getting ready to hit the stage, do you listen to metal? Do you have like a playlist, a track list you always play, or do you just go random?
I always listen to Holy Diver.
Nice.
That's like that amps me up, and then I sing I perform Hallowed Be Thy Name in my bedroom right before I get picked up to go to the gig.
Oh,
and
that's
that is
sick.
what
Oh, that's fun.
What about you?
I'm just kind of like a whatever before
Yeah.
a gig. Like there are gigs that I've listened to like Tom Waits beforehand. There's gigs where I've listened to like Johnny Cash and like Billy String.
Yep.
It's just kind of like whatever I'm in the mood for. Like as long as there's something in there that will musically inspire me, like it is a good thing to listen to for me before a show.
That's awesome. And when you just mentioned Maiden, I just saw Maiden last week. Phenomenal. Still ageless band. So good. And I was going to ask you, because I think you guys would fit in unreal opening for a band like that. And I know we're early and we're building, but I really do, because I think you would have got that crowd like just going. You got that swagger. I've watched some clips. I see it. I hear it. When you guys think of these bands and your classic bands, do you have a bucket list? Hey, we would love to do a show with them, or just be the club opener for the show, or whatever's going on, even if we're not on the tour? Are there bands that you're like, oh, I would just like to get one shot?
Yes. There's so many. Definitely Iron Maiden.
Yep.
I would say above all, of course, I would want to open for Kiss. But Kiss is allegedly not doing shows anymore. So
no, they're doing. They want us to pay $1,000 to watch stickers on stage, and maybe they'll. Yeah, maybe Gene Simmons will put his jank perfume out there so we can all throw up or something. I don't know.
But there are so many good bands now. My favorite, like in like the modern traditional metal scene, is Tower from New York. I want to open or play with them in any capacity so bad. They are so friggin' good. Savage Master.
Sick.
They're also awesome.
Yep.
We got to see them in New York. That was so great. Yeah, there's so many bands. Ideally Kiss, but you know, who knows what's gonna happen with that.
True. Maybe Ace Frehley.
What about you? Oh, maybe Ace Frehley. Or the Gene Simmons band. Paul Stanley is a Motown band.
Did you ever hear? Sorry, before you give us your answer, did you ever hear the worst thing any Kiss member put out? Gene Simmons doing Firestarter by the Prodigy. You need to look that up on YouTube immediately. He's all pimped out. He's got like his cane. He's got all these like. It is the worst song. That song is thinking about that song right now is going to give me I may have to drink more than 12 cans tonight. This may be an 1824, because when you listen or hear this song, you can never look at him again the same. It is so crazy that this song exists. I tell people and then I show them. They think, because it's me, right? So no one takes anything seriously ever. Ever, do they? But this time I'm being serious for once, really. Timmy did fall down the well, and Gene Simmons put out Firestarter, and that song is unlistenable. So if you get a chance, please listen to it, because I'd love to hear what you guys think of that. You got to watch the video. It's a little tougher to find. It's crazy. Crazy.
Oh, God.
But yes, Teagan, what bands... yeah, you got to check this out. Sorry, what bands would you love to open for?
For me, it's like my influences and like the things I would gravitate towards are more like your virtuoso guitar players. Like I would love to play a show with people like Weasel Zappa or Paul Gilbert or Buckethead or like those kind of guys. Like Steve Vai, just any of those like virtuosic guitar players, I think would be awesome to open for and play alongside of. And I hope one day I'm good enough to share the stage with them. But you know, for now, I practice for my, I don't know, what have I been doing since I moved here, like 4 hours a day or something.
Yeah, no, you play a lot. We did get to open for White Line. Well, Mike Tramp's White Line.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
That's cool.
It was cool. It was like a real legit theater. We got like a real legit sound check and stuff. and he just popped out of nowhere. He was like, "Hi guys," and I was like,
Oh, that
done.
is sick. Yeah, I
It was
actually
funny because
that's a great band.
he was doing like a little meet and greet,
Yeah.
and we asked him like, "How'd you like our set?" And he was like, "I didn't get to watch your set, but he took a picture with our CD."
Yeah. That's sick.
Thank
And
you,
I
Mr.
mean,
White.
Icon, right? Icon. White Lion
Yeah.
is, again, when I talked earlier, it got watered down because they're just pumping stuff like weight and all that, right? But White Lion has some, I mean, and Vito, we'd all love to see him come back. But White Lion has some bangers. They really do. They have some heavier stuff, and they have stuff that came out a little later that deserved a lot more play. And like Thunder and Lightning and these songs are actually like heavy fucking riffs, and they're just forgotten about. And you will be on stage with your Steve Vais and your Joe Satriani's practicing 4 hours. We don't say if or what we hope. You will. You heard it here first, exclusive. Roll the tape back. I want credit. I deserve as much attention as possible. You're going to be out there shredding. And I love that you're naming some of these names you're naming too, because I feel like names like your Steve Vais and Malmsteens and Satriani's, they kind of gone away where with me growing up, they were them and everybody. Even your Eddie Van Halen wasn't at that level to us. Like, these were guys that were doing stuff that was on another planet, right? So,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you. Thanks for the free tickets when I go watch you play with these guys. You could have like a shred off. It's awesome. Guys, last thing here is I wanted to ask you, what's next? What do we have coming up? I know we got to hit the studio. I know you got to get back into the studio, so we're going to do that. Are we going to get a full-length album out? Any live album ever coming out? What are the next steps for the band, and how are you going to get there?
It's funny you mentioned the live album thing. At our EP release show, we tried to do exactly that, like get an SD card with the tracks and the soundboard. And I don't know what the soundboard guy did, but like I paid him $20 to do the thing. He hands me the SD card back. I can't actually check it there, so I get home and I pop it in. It's just like X amount of minutes of silence. It wasn't even the length of our set. There was only 4 tracks on it. All of them were silent, and I was like, well, fuck. Not only did I lose $20, that could have gone for like 2 beers to us, but like,
yeah,
we did get a cool video for it. It's just the sound is a little bit weird, but we should post it.
Yeah,
we do have 2 singles that'll be coming out.
Nice.
Very soon. One of them's a cover, and then one of them's an original song. And then we hope to have a full length out in 2025.
Nice.
We have all the material. We just gotta work it out.
See what works, what doesn't, and finalize arrangements.
We have 3 more shows for the rest of the year.
3 more. I need more material. Like, you have to do this for me. If anybody, do it for the Madman.
And you get.
Like, give me 10 new tracks here. What are we doing? And then the next thing I want to know, do you have plans? I mean, we have some of these festivals out here, like an RPM Fest and stuff, and I think you'd fit in there perfectly. I really do. Do you have plans for submitting to any of these festivals, start traveling? I know it's not easy at this stage, right? Things are not as easy when you're coming out from the beginning and you got to figure out finances and all that kind of fun stuff and jobs and everything. But like, I saw that fest, and that fest had everything from like death metal to hardcore to power metal. So like, when I thought of you guys when I was just thinking about some of the festivals, because I'm like, I could see you on that outside stage just in all your 80s glory, just bringing it, you know? Do you have any plans for that? Anything that you're looking into?
It's so nice that you said that, because I actually just submitted us for that festival yesterday.
Really? For
yeah,
RPM?
They have like an application online, so we'll see.
That's funny.
We also submitted for like an M3 pre-fest.
Yeah.
Or whatever, so maybe we'll get that. Down the road, of course, I would love to go to Europe or do one of the festivals there, because like I feel like we'd be great there, and also
we fit right in.
Those things.
Yeah.
Surrounded by so many people like us, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
We're open to anything. We just nobody has like a book of like how to do this, so we're just figuring it out as we go. Social media, like with TikTok and everything, it's so confusing. One day you get like 3 likes, one day you get 100. Like, feels like gambling.
It's really tough. It could be discouraging. When I tell everybody this just from experience, and not I'm some genius, right? Like, when I started on there, first of all, I took a lot of heat on there when I started. I did not have any traction. I didn't know what I was doing content wise. And the haters were like just coming at me, like just assaulting me, annihilating, taking away any dignity I had left. And they were just going, but I'm one of those people, I'm sure as you can tell, that there's no stopping me. I don't fear anything. I just keep going forward. I want to do things. I want to make people happy. I love doing it. So I just kept doing it and doing it. And ironically, or not ironically, the thing that did, and I'm going to do one right now. I've been quiet the whole time. I got to do one. The flag's up there. I'm feeling it. I got to bring one out here. The thing that broke me on there was one day I was sitting in my room all sad and depressed, and I go, let me just let out a fucking slam! And it caught on, and I just kept going with it, and it gave me that momentum. And once you have that hit on there, embrace that hit. The biggest mistake everybody makes, and it's sad because I watch these people over the years that dipped on me. They all quit. They quit. I'm like, you can't stop. I hear bands. I was up at the New England Death Metal Fun Time Bonanza, and I had bands I love, and they were just like, when this is over, I'm like, it's not over. It's never going to be over. You got to always look big, dream big. And that's what, and I just kept posting. TikTok. And eventually the algorithm will find you with the right stuff. And just, I'll help repost your stuff. I don't mind doing that stuff, commenting. Any help I can give, because I really believe in your guys' product, and I think you guys are really good for the scene. I love the attitude and everything about you. But you just got to keep going, because even Instagram, so you could conquer one, because you'll notice this too. Let's say you get hot on TikTok, you're blowing up. You go to Instagram, you're nobody there. Nobody cares. Right. Any abuse you took on TikTok, you're going to start all over on Instagram now until they know who you are and you have your clout, and then that's all done. And then you go, I'm going to go start YouTube Shorts. So I conquer TikTok, I conquer Instagram, I'm fucking moving, I'm firing all cylinders. You go on YouTube Shorts, it starts all over again. People don't know who you are. They're coming at you, they're saying really bad shit. I always say ignore it. Who cares what's in those comments? It means nothing to me. Right off my shoulder. You're not going to say it to my face. It's just not going to happen. Go sit in your basement with your Lucky Charms cereal, watching your Tube TV with your Alf VHS, because you never amounted to nothing. That's what you got to do. So you just keep, though, you got to be relentless with it. Just like with your music, just like with your live shows. Don't let anything stop you. You get to a show, no one shows up. Who cares? You had a good time there. If one person had a good time, that's all this stuff takes sometimes. One person hears another person. And just keep, when I was looking at your Insta, like you're networking with bands, network with every band. Every band. You'd be surprised sometimes, even in different genres. These are all, the amount of people in this last year I've met as Metal Horror Madman, getting behind the scenes, talking to old bands, backstage, all this shit, that we're all the same. We're all the same. We don't want to work for a living. We want to do what we have. We want to have fun. We want to be passionate about what we love, and we want to help one another. So my advice to you is don't give up, because the algorithms are like that. I have people now, too, that we're almost there, and then they just I see them go, unless I do clickbait, I'm not getting any hits. I'll put stuff out and get 700,000 views, and then I'll get 800 views and 400 views. And I go, you know what? And yeah, it gets to you a little bit, because especially someone like me that's out there being really crazy and doing intense stuff all the time. And you're like, I did all that for nothing. But it's not for nothing, because I like watching it. I find it funny. I'm sure as the pride you take in there going, look at us. We're doing this. Like, you know how many people wish they could be performing live right now or write one song? That's not easy to do. I know young bands out there trying to be a band. It's been years, and it's just not clicking. So you gotta ride what you've accomplished already, which is tremendous. Tremendous. And you know the Madman. It's not like I'm out there pumping every band. It's not a lot. I don't follow a lot of people back. I'm very full of myself. I'm very arrogant. I love myself. I think I'm amazing. And I sit there and I look at you two, and I know you're amazing. And my plea to you is be relentless. Don't stop. Post every day on Insta and TikTok. Just keep posting. And then besides your live stuff or just your music, do some videos just about you. Hey, this is where I am. This is what I do. Do some generic, give all the loser people out there. They're like, Philly, is the Liberty Bell still cracked? Do you eat at Pat's or Geno's? I don't know. What do you think of Ben Franklin? Give him all that stick. Sit in there, go at the Rocky statue, maybe drop a fucking Slayer. Who knows what your potential is that you guys can do out there? Do something viral. You see when I go out, do I look like I care what people think at all? Don't I look like a raving lunatic that doesn't care what happens that day or who's judging them? That's what you guys got to do. And I'm just pushing you extra hard because I see it. I see it. I feel it. I've talked about the bands. I don't buy a ton of even band merch either. When I'm talking about newer bands, right? There's certain select bands I really like that I really want to support. You have it. Don't let the views, don't even worry about the views. Think of it this way. If you could gain a follower a week is better than no followers at all, right? That's what I look at stuff. And that's why I try and share you in the stories, hoping that anybody sees that, checks you out, telling a lot of people about you. So I know that was long-winded. It's only from my experience through this. And I would hate to see a band with this talent and that kind of vision and that kind of vibe to the scene right now let any algorithm or a negative comment or a low attendance or anything stop you, because Mike Tramp was just the beginning of the many people you're going to meet.
Thank you so much. That was so nice.
I mean, I say what I mean. I wear my heart on my sleeve to a fault. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you guys live. If I got to go out to Philly to do it, I'm going to have to do that. I've been to Philly in years. I used to live in Jersey, grew up in New York, so I know the area very well.
Where are you? In Massachusetts?
I'm in Massachusetts, yep. So that's when I had mentioned the RPM Fest. That's where I went this year. I caused the scene at the Metal Trivia. It was quite a scene. Oh, Madman, you're so amazing. And we have the New England Metal Hardcore Fest out here. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Massachusetts for the scene. New England Death Metal Fun Time. Some of these things are a little more extreme than stuff in certain genres that come in and out of them. But there's a lot of opportunity, and there's some great venues we have in here, like places called that I'd look into. That a place called Ralph's. I don't know if you're familiar with Ralph's Diner.
Yeah,
right. That's Rascals. That's where Dangerous Toys just played. You guys would be. It's one of those bar venues. It's got a great vibe. All 80s stuff is always coming there. I think they have Mike from Striper coming there. I think they've had guys from LA Gun, stuff like that. So I'd look into Rascal when you're ready. I'll be there. I'll be buying a few tickets, so don't worry. At least I'll be there. We'll be filming stuff. I'll film with you guys. When I see you guys, we'll film and we'll pump some videos, all right? That's what we're going to do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sound good?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciated talking to you guys. Maybe in a few months we do it again and see where the progression is, and we keep building up that metal attitude. You keep mixing the genres. You kick down the doors. You make the late Ronnie James Dio proud, baby. Let's go. Love the two of you. Keep up the good work. Breaker for life. And another great episode wrapped up. And you know what I wanted to say real quick, as I always do. People say, Madman, where'd you get the tats? Where'd you get the ink? You know where I got a Porter Worcester tattoo, not in Worcester, Massachusetts. East Brookfield, look them up, Rich Green on Facebook. And another thing besides my tattoos, where do I get all this merch and shirts and stuff? I'll go to Hole of Horror on Instagram. I'll look for Greg at his show. Great company. Great stuff that I want to just buy all the time. He's got online. He's got options of credit. You can buy all these different ways. Great things to do. And another place I always like to pump is my Creeping Death. Look up Creeping Death. Look them up on Instagram. She's got the best metal merch, custom metal shirts, patches, all buttons, pins, wacky things. Thanks for listening. You really got to support that band Breaker. They're going to break big, and you guys can help them do it. Until next time, don't forget to thrive!